Hey, this is Papa Dukes. I'm back. We're at the Women's Grow Leadership Summit, and it is a beautiful, cold Monday on President's Day, and I'm here with Gretchen Gailey. She just did an interview with Ricky Williams, former Heisman Trophy winner and professional football star. And Gretchen has worked in the cannabis industry for the past 7 years in communications and government affairs. Government affair roles, advancing the industry through its data and the stories of those involved. She's worked specifically with cannabis clients to tell their stories to make sure they have the traction they need to grow their business and influence policymakers, which is what you spoke about a lot, that the main focus is influencing these policymakers. Mm-hmm. How do we go about that?
Honestly, it's just telling our story. I mean, Ricky talked about it a lot, but for a lot of the members of Congress, they have never set foot inside a dispensary, a grow. Even the folks who are in legal states have a dispensary right down the street from them. They have no idea, because especially if it's a medical state, they can't walk into it unless they're a patient. And so businesses need to get out. They need to invite lawmakers to come and see the work that they're doing, so they can show that they're responsible business owners who care about their product, who care about security, who aren't selling, pot to little kids bouncing off the school bus, because those are the crazy narratives that are being put out there. And then when it comes,
the stigmatisms,
it's insane. So like, I have a client that I work with. She owns a dispensary in New Jersey. She came to the Hill to talk about her need for safe banking. She went to speak to her senator, Cory Booker, and spoke about, I need to sell my house. I may not even get a license. I've been trying to get a license for 3 years.
I think I know her.
Yes.
I think I know her.
Mortgaging her life away to make this industry work. But she would not have had to do that if there was safe banking, if she could get a business loan, if she wasn't sitting on property for 3 years that she can't open the doors to, that she's paying rent
out
to.
Of her money, yeah.
And the lawmakers don't even consider that. They have no idea that that's happening. And then when you explain to them, all right, well, I have to conduct all my business in cash, so now I just bought a $75,000 safe that no other business would need to do. The expenses, they just don't put two and two together. They don't understand until you're sitting in front of them and talking about your business and how it really affects them, how it affects your workers, your employees. Everyone thinks a bud tender is just some kid who's minimum wage, whatever, but it's a lot of people who have passion for the plant, who want to make this a career, who have that knowledge that we need. Those people can't get mortgages, they can't get banking. I've been debanked 4 times. All I do is talk about cannabis. I got debanked in November. The email that I got from the bank was, I didn't even understand it. I mean,
what's the name of you? You got Project Champion.
Yes, Project Champion.
And you're out of Penn State University?
No, Penn State is where I went to school.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I live here in DC. I've been in DC over 20 years.
And tell us about Project Champion.
Yes, so we are a 501c4, and we are an initiative with a coalition of former professional athletes who want to lend their voices to the fight.
Okay.
And we are working for sensible cannabis policy reform on the federal and the state level. I've been working on the Hill for quite a long time. Frankly, lawmakers, like I said, know nothing. What they do understand is whether or not they're going to get reelected. And so what you need then are for the voters to exert pressure. It's not just about coming to Washington and telling your story. You also have to make it count at home.
Right.
So when Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, who does not have legal cannabis in his state,
That's right.
is also the chairman of the Senate Banking Committee, who's in charge of whether or not safe banking happens, you need to get in front of him. You need to talk to him. If he is concerned about maybe not getting reelected because the people in his state are like, this is something I want, you won't even address it.
Right.
That exerts the pressure that we need for them to start taking us seriously.
Okay.
And so, for example, Senate banking, because I love Senate banking because that's my life right now.
Okay.
We got 3 other senators that we really got to deal with. Senator Tillis of North Carolina, you got Haggerty and Rounds. And I always, frankly, get them mixed up because they're 2 white guys. I think Haggerty's Tennessee, Rounds is North Dakota.
Okay.
All of them are no votes when it comes to safe banking. We've seen this before because safe banking came through the Senate Banking Committee a year and a half or so ago, and they voted it down.
Okay.
So now, those 3 guys are up for re-election in 2026. So now is the time to start exerting pressure on them to understand that cannabis is an issue that we need them to turn on. If they want to keep their jobs, which they all do, that's all they care about. And I'm sorry to sound cynical.
No, it's actual
everyone's
truth.
like, oh, they should do it because it's for the cause. I'm like, nobody does anything in DC for the cause.
Nobody does anything in DC, what she said, for the cause.
Nobody.
I have followed politics all my life. I was one of the rare kids in my family that really watched the news. The Middle East, that shit's been going on forever. It's nothing new. Now they're actually going to act on it. They've wiped out. But that's another. What we're seeing is a revolution in the cannabis industry.
Yes.
And we need to, all of the local and regional organizations, who are primarily women. Women are literally the heart and soul of all activism and advocacy in the marijuana industry. I'm going to tell you that right now. Okay?
This industry was founded by women.
It
was caregivers who wanted to get their children medicine.
Yep.
That's how cannabis was started.
Yep. And for all of you that you should read your history, it's would the strategy be to get with all of the local active organizations and then
it's not even
consolidate?
that. It's not even that. So like, for example, with Ricky, we also work with Jim McMahon, Kyle Turley, they're also co-founders, but we also have a whole roster of athletes spread across the country. And so when we need to mobilize in a certain state, we talk to the athletes who are local to that one, who are the hometown heroes, who are the people they want to hear from.
Okay.
And so we just take the guys out to do a meet and greet, to meet with fans, talk to them about why cannabis matters, go to a game, have a tailgate. It's all about just bringing the message.
Okay.
And then frankly, when Ricky Williams comes to town, the press shows up.
Yes.
And so then we can propagate the message more. And so that puts it out in the media. And then we can get into advertising and digital ads, social media. There's so many cheap, easy, effective ways to reach the voters. And frankly, with a number of these places, when you really get into the data and the nitty gritty, perhaps you only need to affect a few districts.
Right.
And that's where we pinpoint. This is we need to turn.
Okay.
And so then you can really exert the pressure onto the lawmaker to do what you want. I mean, I was in Congress a long time ago. It was a while. But honestly, my boss would come in every week and he'd say, what did people call about this week? And someone called about immigration. We had 20 calls about a bridge falling down or something or other. He cared about what constituents were calling in to talk to him about.
Right.
So if we have 50 constituents calling a senator's office all of a sudden about cannabis, it matters. They're like, okay, what's happening? If we got people writing in about Senate banking, like when we had this banking committee hearing 2 weeks ago, it was all about debanking, and it was frankly just about crypto. Cannabis wasn't even invited to the table. Shocker. Kyle Sherman of FlowHub put together a platform, threw it out over social media. Within a few days, we had 120 responses from people across the country about how they've been debanked, how they are legal businesses, and what they have to deal with. We're able to submit that to the Senate Banking Committee and say, look at this. This is an issue that we need to care about and you need to focus on. Because these are businesses that are paying taxes, they are law-abiding citizens. There's absolutely no reason for them not to be moving forward with this.
I also feel like they're second-class citizens are just being treated unfairly because of the plant, which has done so much for people. We're going to have a long conversation in the next couple of weeks. I really want to get more into and research more.
We can dive in as deep as you want.
You got like Washington. I think you're going to be the cannabis lobbyist for all of us.
I'm trying.
And I can push that. I really can. I think once we became legal in New York, I found purpose.
Yeah.
It's like my life changed. So I am more than willing to help in getting the drive out, especially over the next few years due to the situation we're at right now.
Well, and speaking specifically to the situation we're in right now, people need to remember how things get done in Congress. Everyone thinks Donald Trump's going to wave a magic wand, rescheduling is going to happen, this is going to go this way or that. I don't want him to wave a magic wand. When he does that, we end up in court for 10 years and nothing happens. We want things to go through Congress to have real laws and lasting impact. So now that Republicans control the Senate, we need to get at least 50 votes, 50 Republicans on board. In the past, when the Democrats were in charge, and Chuck Schumer was around, he was the leader, we only needed 10 Republicans.
Right.
Because we had all the Democrats.
Right.
You only needed 10 Republicans then to get past the filibuster. Now, John Thune, the new majority leader, is not going to bring forward legislation that is backed by Democrats.
Of course.
So now we need to get legislation backed by Republicans. So before, all I had to do was convince 10 Republicans.
Right.
Now I got to convince 50.
50.
So
that's crazy. That's
need to figure this out.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
The whole world has shifted, and we
it's-
need to catch up.
And we've been there before. I think in the 70s, I experienced this with Nixon, but it wasn't as bad. There was at least some prestige behind the fucking office.
Right. There was some respect.
Respect. Right.
Civility.
Even though after Watergate, we still were like that. I think that's what really started. People started seeing the reality of the Oval Office. So, all right. So I just appreciate you, Gretchen. Gretchen Gailey will be on the next couple of weeks. We're going to have a nice in-depth conversation about the politics of cannabis and what we could do to have our representatives, both in the House and Senate, listen to us and act, because they know we can bring in good money and at the same time keep them elected. So God bless you, Gretchen.
Thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate you. We'll be talking soon.
All right.
Thank
Sounds
you.
good.
Thank you. I love it. I love it.